All right, everybody, welcome to, what is the 17th? I know it's this date because this is my wife's birthday. So she turned the big 60 today, got her 60 roses, and just so happy for her. And even though we're not together, she is, let's see if hey, it's working. Awesome. All right, I am trying a new way of doing this today. This is through StreamYard, so I wanted to make sure it was working. It is working. It's working on Facebook, so hopefully you guys are tuning in and can be able to check it out. Anyhow, I'm excited. I got a guest with us tonight. I cannot see who's joining right now, so I apologize for that. That's one limiting factor with this. But I think I see Lisa Fleming and one other person on here, but I'm gonna pay attention to our guests because I'm really super excited. Now, many of you guys know out there that have been watching my lives and stuff that we market this amazing product that is changing people's lives. And I thought, you know what, I'm going to start interviewing people and bringing them onto my lives so you guys can start hearing from these people the real story of what's going on and the real results. And the first person that's going to be the maiden voyage to this is Ashley Pruitt. And Ashley is an amazing lady. I'm going to go ahead and bring her up, and I'm going to say a few words. We're having some technical challenges right now, and she's having a really hard time hearing me. So hopefully this is going to work, but I'm going to bring her on up, and then I'm going to give her a nice little introduction, and then we'll get going with this. So I don't know, Ashley, can you hear me?
Hey, I can barely hear you, but maybe I can hear you enough to answer your questions.
Super. Well, I wanted to bring Ashley on. So Ashley lives in South Haven, Mississippi. She's married. She's got 3 girls, 6, 9, and 11. Her and her husband are very active in church ministries, which is wonderful. And she's been with CILI now for about 2 months. And she's absolutely passionate now about being an entrepreneur and running her own business. So really excited to have you on here, Ashley. How are you today?
Thank you. I'm very excited to be here. I'm sorry all of the muted or sound is bad, but we'll work with it.
Well, at least we can hear you, and that's the most important thing. So again, I mean, folks, for those that are out there, I want you to understand that, you know, we're not just trying to market a product. We are really literally changing people's lives. And when I heard Ashley's story the first time a few weeks ago on one of our corporate update calls, I mean, everybody after that call was texting me and going, "Oh my God, that was an amazing testimony." One of our members actually recorded it, so we've been sending it out to different people. But I wanted to do it this way too, because I wanted to give her the chance to be able to share this story again. So Ashley, let me just start out with, had you tried, before you got onto Swish, had you tried other CBD products before?
Yes, I had tried CBD products before, and I did not like it. CBD tastes horrible, and it made me feel completely weird, and I did not like it at all.
Wow. Okay. And well, that's interesting in itself. So, but then how did you come across CILI by Design to begin with?
I actually saw a post from Laura about it on a hair group on Facebook.
Okay, so Laura is another member. She happens to be in our organization as well. And she was just reaching out to different organizations, letting people know, because hair loss is one of the areas that we've had tremendous success with, and we believe it's because of the minerals in our product. So you see her post. What kind of piqued your interest about her post?
Well, somebody else had actually created a post asking about hair thinning and, you know, what you can do to make it better. And she had posted a before and after picture that was pretty phenomenal. So I thought I would just reach out and ask her what it was. Wow.
Okay. So, and then you reach out to her, and then how did she respond? What happened after that?
Well, once she told me it was CBD, I was like, people think CBD works for everything. So I personally was thinking that it was going to be some kind of a shampoo or a cream or something like that. So immediately when I saw that it was CBD, I was like, no, I was nice. I said, thank you. And, you know, just kind of went on with my life. I didn't like, you know, engage in it. I did end up watching the video about it, but then I just went on and forgot about it after that.
Well, and the fact that you had tried CBD before, you didn't like the taste, made you feel funny. It's like, okay, yeah, I don't want to have anything to do with it. And that's not unusual. A lot of people don't understand how ours is very different from what is out there traditionally for the CBD world. And a lot of people don't even understand what CBD is. I had breakfast this morning with Elizabeth, another lady. She is a flight attendant with Southwest, and she happens to be spending the summer out in this area. And we got together and went through the whole discussion of, CBD and what it is. And, a lot of people with our product, this is not what this is really about, but with our product, we have 0 THC. So that funny feeling for maybe having some THC in there, you're not going to experience that with our product either. So tell me what then happened.
Yeah. I felt so weird taking it. And I immediately said, I can't do this. This
with
is
the
just
other
too much.
CBD product. Yeah.
Yeah. On the other one. Yeah.
So then Laura reached out to you and you're like, no, I don't want to have anything to do with this. Then what kind of happened?
So Laura, being proactive, she got on my Facebook page and saw that I was having severe health issues. So basically with health issues and dealing with COVID, that's when I started having hair loss problems. So she said, well, then she reached back out to me and said, I noticed that you have health issues. Let me tell you what CILI can do. So she let me know that it went beyond that.
Okay. And what kind of health issues was that? If you don't mind sharing, I think this is really an important part of the story. So please share.
I'm sorry.
I said this is an important part of the story. So please share what kind of health challenges you were actually having.
So about 2 years ago, I started just having bad sickness feelings. I started feeling like I was having like light seizures and didn't really know what was happening. I ended up in the hospital for 6 days and a massive migraine. Could not sleep at night. Every time I tried to lay down in the bed is when it kicked in the worst. So where people, if you're sick all day and you try to lay down and you get some rest, you can normally feel better. And for me, it was total opposite. Anytime I laid down the bed, my muscles reacted and they moved whether I wanted them to or not. Over time, I ended up realizing if I would just let them move without, really trying to stop this, what felt like seizures, that it wouldn't be so bad on me later. But for about 1.5 years, it was just hardcore. I was pretty much bedridden.
Wow.
For the first 6 months, and I was completely bedridden for the first 6 months. After that, I started, trying to just not move. It was ridiculous. And I'm a very active person.
Yeah.
I ran my own business before. I was working 40 hours a week. I was doing everything and taking care of my family, everything before I got sick. So for me, I'm just laying there, literally writhing in pain every day, every night. And I couldn't do anything. I was gaining weight. It was ridiculous. So basically,
this was going on for a period of time, like you said, about 1.5 years or so. Is that how long it was before you first saw that post from Laura? How long have you had this condition before you saw that post from Laura?
It was still right. It was right at about 1.5 years. I'm a little bit more than 1.5 years into it now.
Okay. And then what else? Besides being better, you had said something to me about with your kids' names.
Oh, yes. So the medication that the doctors were giving me, we come to find out, my body was addicted to steroids. So I've had asthma and allergies my whole life. And I was on a corticosteroid inhaler, and the prednisone was just hurting my body. And that was when I went to the doctor and asked her, what do I do? Can you switch me? Can you wean me off of the steroids? I don't want to be on steroids anymore. I knew it could hurt my body. But she just switched me to a different inhaler, and I thought, oh, no big deal, And we found out 1 year later that is what actually caused my problems.
Oh, wow.
Because my body was literally addicted to steroids. So once my body could not react and could not produce its own steroid, I started overly producing spinal fluid. So I'm officially diagnosed as intracranial hypertension, where my body overproduces spinal fluid and it literally just sits in my head, constant pressure, constant pushing. Anytime my heart rate even increases the smallest bit, creates more problems. And on top of that, my mental clarity was just off the charts.
Wow.
The medication they gave me, I couldn't remember my kids' names. I couldn't remember how to use a computer, and I lived on a computer. I couldn't remember anything. My 9-year-old, and I mean the other two helped also, but my 9-year-old called herself my nurse. I mean, I was home all day with her, with my kids, and they took care of me. They had to grow up really fast because we had no other options, and they were taking care of mom at that point. And it was very hard to deal with emotionally and mentally, but at the same time, I couldn't do anything about it. My mental clarity was just gone. Even when the products came about, I just thought it didn't matter. I couldn't even focus on the business side of it because I didn't even think it was going to help me,
Right.
physically at the time.
So now Laura is reaching out about your health concerns, and what had you finally break down and give it a shot?
Well, I was very, very skeptical of the whole thing. And she said, well, if I send you a 6-day sample, now normally we only have 3-day samples. So she asked if she sent me 2 samples, if I would take it just to see how it would work with me. Because my issues were so severe, she knew that if I only took 3 days of it and I didn't get the feeling that I wanted, that I would have turned away from it.
Yeah.
So she sent me 6 days, and that's when I decided, okay, I'll take it. What do I have to lose? And I just went from there.
So for everybody, this is what the sample that Ashley's talking about right now. There's 3 glass vials in here, and that's a 3-day supply. And Laura, this had been going on for several months, right, with Laura. And Laura's finally like, hey, how about if I get you some samples and you try these samples? Let's see if if you notice anything. So then what happened?
So almost immediately I noticed a difference. Like the first day I had just come back, I was pushing myself to do something just to get out of my comfort zone. So I had actually gone to Texas the week before on my first trip in like years, because I was just being stubborn at that point. I wanted my life back. Yeah. And when I got back home, I was the only one available to help my dad, who had just had knee replacement surgery. And I mean, when I say the pain was so severe, I literally laid in the floorboard of the vehicle on the way home from Texas crying. Wow. And I'm not that dramatic, emotional person when it comes to stuff like that. I like having fun, but when it comes to that, I don't want anybody to see me. I didn't want anybody to be around me while I was in that much pain. And I had to go straight to my parents' house and take care of my dad. And I was like, there's no way I can do this, but I have to. So I was just going to try to push through the pain and make it happen. So almost immediately, like the day I took it, I got this boost of energy, like, okay, let's do this. And I was so disabled. I didn't even drive for the last year and a half. Driving was the absolute worst thing that I could do. I don't know if it's from the stress of it or what, but anytime I drove even to the grocery store, which is right down the road for me, I would come back writhing in pain and have to go straight to bed for days, not just a few hours, for days. So I had to take my dad. I'm sorry.
So this was you said almost immediately. What did you notice almost immediately? What was the?
So I had the energy and the strength to take my dad to therapy that day. So I drove him 30 minutes to therapy and 30 minutes back home. I had to wait an hour, which waiting for me, when I relax, remember, it just increases. So I was able to drive back home. And you remember the part where I said I couldn't sleep ever? I came back home. I got him settled. I made sure he had his food or whatever he needed. And I said, I need to go lay down. And I laid down and I went straight to sleep. Like
Fantastic.
straight to sleep. And that happened the entire week. I got up, I took him where he needed to go, and I went straight to sleep. And I know that's not normally what people like to hear, but for me, my body was healing. And it was giving me the rest that I had not gotten for the last 2 years.
Exactly. Yeah. That is so important. That rest is so important. So then you had some immediate success, and I assume then you've been here about 2 months. So then I'm assuming you started with the product, correct, on a regular basis?
Right. I started immediately on the product. I actually, after that sample, I talked to Laura, and I was bedridden after that because once the sample ran out, like everything kicked back in gear.
So you noticed the difference when you came off the product?
Yeah. As soon as I came off the product, like 2 days later,
wow.
I crashed and I couldn't function at all. And when she called me to ask me how I was doing, I was like, I'm terrible. I'm awful. Like nothing is not working, and then once we talked about it, I realized the only way that I was doing what I was doing was because I was taking that product. And, sometimes you just get in your own mind about things. And so at that point, I was like, okay, let me do this and we'll see how it works. I didn't want to get my hopes up about anything. I thought, worst case scenario is going to help me sleep. And I can get up and help the kids with something during the day. But I had no thought that it was going to do what it has done.
Wow. So now that you've been on it for a couple months, what would you say is different from back in January when you first saw that post from Laura?
Oh, everything.
What's different now that you've been on the product for a good 2 months?
I sleep now. So when I sleep, my body feels like it's constantly rejuvenating and getting better. Within 2 weeks, I was completely ready to go. I was up when my husband got up for work. I was up. I was getting dressed. I was like ready to just have a day. And I had to still take it easy because if my blood pressure skyrocketed, everything else did too. But it just almost immediately I was able to do like 1 or 2 hours up and about taking care of the kids. I was only able to cook a meal every once in a while before, and I was cooking breakfast and lunch, and I would go back and rest for dinner, and then each day just got better and better.
Would you say it was kind of safe to say that like you kind of got your life back?
I did. Exactly. That's what I tell people. It was literally life-changing. I was almost completely bedridden. And then almost immediately within 2 weeks, I was ready to go. What's hard is after you've been bedridden for almost 2 years, your muscles and your body, they're not ready to run, even though my mind was ready to go. So I had to basically learn how to be functional again. I had to slowly work my muscles and slowly do more and more. And I think I'm like almost 7 weeks, 6-7 weeks into it now. And I couldn't imagine going back. I would drink that whole bottle before I even thought about going back.
Well, and here's the thing. I want to help everybody, the listeners out there that are watching this, are going to be watching the recording. I want them to understand, like I mentioned, I had this breakfast conversation with Elizabeth today, and she didn't really understand what CBD was. And some of you maybe, because I talk about it a lot on these lives, but we have what's called an endocannabinoid system, an ECS. And what science is now starting to discover, it's not popular science here in the United States, but what the scientists have discovered that are studying this, and the people that do study this are starting to begin to understand that the ECS is the master regulator of the body. In other words, if your ECS is a little bit out of whack, it can show up as a symptom somewhere else. And so your body gets out of balance. And what the CBD does is it helps bring that ECS back into homeostasis so they can run the other functions of the body more correctly and more towards a natural balance, right? So the CBD is really important. Now, what makes our product so incredibly different from everything else that's out there is that we're getting 99% absorption directly to the cells. With a typical CBD product, not only does it have THC, but for the typical CBD product, you're only getting about 10% absorption. So this was created by 4 scientists with 9 PhDs. I mean, some really, really smart folks. And it's got a complete, I mean, you can't really see this with the lighting, but this is all the ingredients on this. And it's got 54 trace and macro minerals, and along with a mitochondrial blend and a glycobiological blend. It's got some herbs in there, plus a 50-50 blend of CBD and CBG. So it's a complete nutritional, and everything is nano-sized and encapsulated in water molecules to be able to get directly to your cells. Very different. To our knowledge, there's nobody else on the planet doing this with either the CBD or nutritionals. And that's why we get results. And that's why Ashley is never coming off this product, because the product has truly helped her body rebound. Now, this is, I'm going to assume, but I'm going to ask the question anyhow, if you can hear me. The doctors didn't have a solution for you. Would you say that that's correct?
Right. Most people with intracranial hypertension, you're just overproducing fluid and they don't know why. It's usually called idiopathic intracranial hypertension because they don't know why your body is doing what it's doing. For me, we just knew that the steroid is what caused it, but we don't know why. We don't know how to stop it. So all they're doing is giving diuretics, and the diuretics have severe symptoms. I mean, like the memory issues. My feet, both of my feet literally turned purple, and I wasn't able to function. Wow. So the only thing that they're able to offer are products that hurt you more than what you were already going through. So for something like this to have the reaction that it's had, and it makes sense when you talk about the system. It makes so much sense because my nerves and my muscles, they attack me, like literally. My neck muscles, the first time I went to the chiropractor, it sounded like a gunshot went off because my neck, literally, my muscles were like holding on to everything and they would never relax. So now that it's allowed it to relax and everything to flow, and it allowed my system to relax. So, and it's not a relax like you're exhausted or you're tired. It's like, finally, I can feel like a normal person again, relax.
Wow. That is amazing. And just so everybody understands too, everybody's going to respond differently to this, right? Because everybody's system and what's going on within their system is a little bit different. Part of this ECS, this endocannabinoid system, is you already produce, your body is hardwired for CBD. Your body actually needs CBD as a supplement, like you would take a vitamin C supplement or something like that. It's just that you haven't heard about it, you're not as familiar with it because it's not popular yet, but it is headed that way. And you already produce 2 different types of cannabinoids in your system, CB1 and CB2. CB1 is for the brain, basically, and CB2 is for the nervous system. So when you explain that, and when you say that, it doesn't surprise me at all. And when you now get a good quality CBD going in to help out that ECS, it seems that it definitely gave you some benefit. Now, I have to be very clear. Ashley has mentioned a disease. I want to make very clear, we're not making a medical claim. CILI by Design products are not designed to diagnose, treat, cure, mitigate any illness or disease, and we're not saying that it does. But what we are saying is that, hey, why don't you give this a shot and see what it will do for you? And even if you're a healthy individual, I was a very healthy individual when I started taking this product, and I just did a live again, listing all the different things on how it's helped me, not to mention really boosting the immune system. Now, you've been here for a couple months. I know you've brought a whole bunch of customers and new members on into CILI by Design. What's like 1 or 2 testimonies from other people that you've experienced that you're working with that you'd like to share?
I've had a few people that have severe pain issues. And of course, everybody's so skeptical. So, if everybody will just get out of your own head and, like just try the product, that's the biggest thing. That, sweet Laura, she was so patient with me and my skeptical self, but it does work. And, you know, one lady, she, you know, I know you just said no medical, you know, claims or anything like that. This lady has fibromyalgia, and she was very skeptical, and I convinced her to take it. And once she got it, 2 days into it, she's up cleaning her house and taking care of things she said she hasn't been able to touch in months. And that's just one of numerous people. Of another lady at church, she came to me last night and was telling me that her skin issues, age spots, are going away.
Yep. Very popular.
Another man said that they said he had a mole on his face. And at first he didn't know, like, he's a very energetic person, so he didn't know if it was actually helping him or not. And that mole is about to fall off. Wow. So it's different things, like you said, for different people. And it's amazing to see what this product does for people.
Well, Ashley, I want to thank you very much for taking time out of your day and joining me on my live here. This one a little bit longer, but hopefully you guys, you listeners out there, that you got something valuable from this. This will be recorded. It's also going to be on the Facebook Live where you can share it from there. And I would just like to say again, anybody that knows me and is familiar with me and is hearing about this through me, let's get you started on this product right away. If Ashley, you're hearing this from Ashley and Ashley's sharing this with you, get with Ashley and let her help you get you on your way. But regardless of how you're getting this information, get with us and let us help you get started with this amazing, amazing product and help you start feeling the difference too. So we'll kind of end it there. But Ashley, thank you again so much. It was a pleasure.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Great job. So now I got to figure out how to end this thing. All right, I see it. All right, everybody, have a great one. Bye. Bye.